Guys, today we're going to look at 5 badass blades that everyone needs to check out at least once. These things are amazing. Let's turn this around and crack into it. All right, guys, like I said in the intro, we're going to look at 5 badass knives. We're going to give them each a couple minutes, and we're going to start with what I think is the best knife I've purchased in a very long time. And it is the Microtek Amphibian Ramlock. This is my pick for knife of the year so far. I do know it's only halfway through the year, but this thing is truly an incredible knife. I've been carrying it for a while. I bought one. I had one come in for review. I liked it so much, I bought one. This is done in aluminum. It's done in Microtek's new M390 MK that they worked with Bowler to do. Some people have complained about steel. I love the steel. I've used it enough. I had to put my own edge on it. It's recently just touched it up. This thing has got one of the best locks on the market if you don't want a flipper. This is probably the best version of the Axis lock. It's very akin to what Benchmade did on the Anthem. This is the Ramlock. It's a linear lock. You've got this beautiful recurved blade with this beautiful swedge. This thing comes down super thin behind the edge here, and it does thicken up behind the edge here and gives you a more robust tip. This cuts like a dream in hand. Incredibly comfortable. This is probably the best Microtek knife out there. This is cheaper than any Benchmade you're going to find with this style lock. You got this beautiful titanium backspacer nested in these aluminum scales. Probably the best pocket clip I've had on a knife in a very, very long time, even though it's not a deeper carry pocket clip that I've gotten used to. It is ambidextrous. They've went back to regular hardware. It's a larger knife, but it doesn't feel out of sorts with itself. It does not feel like it's too far past the pivot like a lot of larger knives do. You got multiple handholds on this. This thing is truly an incredible knife, 100% American made. Some people complain that it doesn't flip, it doesn't have the detent, but you run into that with most of the Axis style locks. Beautiful multi-directional milling on this with this fluted, as they've got it listed as fluted aluminum. I love the aluminum. Microtek does about the best you're ever going to find with aluminum. Hard coat ano on this is going to hold up forever. Just an incredible knife. My pick for knife of the year, Microtek Amphibian. Let's move on to the next knife. And it's the Pinkerton Knives Inversion. This is a knife, as you can see, that gets a lot of pocket time because of the lint that's in the pocket clip. This thing is absolutely an amazing purpose-built self-defense knife. It is a folding picot, so you know the blade is on it kind of backwards, which means that in use, it's going to be in this grip. You've got this beautiful S35 VN blade that is brought down to a modified Wharncliffe with a slight recurve to it. These are incredible. If you can find one of these and you're in the market for something strictly for self-defense, it's incredible. Lots of different ways to modify the way you carry. You can remove the ring, you can swap the pocket clip, you can adjust the depth of the pocket clip. It has a different pocket clip that came with it. It also has a different thumb plate, more akin to the Terzuola style thumb disc. This waves off the pocket beautifully. It's done, this one is done in a orange peel titanium that has held up beautifully. I love the way this sits in the pocket. Also has got a flipper on it if you want to deploy that way. But for me, just having it in the pocket, the way it was designed in the pocket like this, and then it just flies out of the pocket with this absolutely insanely good wave feature that's on it. Just a purpose-built, well thought out knife. Dirk has got a lot of designs out there, great, but this thing, even in the closed position, even if you pull it out of your pocket closed, it is still a devastating tool. You can use it as an impact tool like this. It's got this big thumb area up here with when you're in this ring, you're just locked in. You can just really use this as a striking weapon if you need to for self-defense. But yeah, just an incredibly well thought out knife. The frame lock on this is done just incredibly so that when you deploy this knife and then you pull it back around, you've got really good access to it. The detent and lockup on it is great. This is just one of the best thought out knives I've seen in a very long time. So there you go, the Pinkerton Inversion. Let's move on to the next one. And it's another new addition to my collection. It is the Military 2. I always wanted the actual Military, the old school Military, old design, beautiful design, really well thought out. One of the best knives that Spyderco ever made. Like I said in other videos, has launched a series of knives, including the PM2 and PM3. But the cool thing about this or this Military 2 is they've incorporated the compression lock. They've changed some of the ergos on some of this. You've got much more defined areas that your fingers drop into. The jimping on it just perfect. The compression lock is a game changer in my opinion. I've handled the old school Militaries that were the liner locks. They were okay. This is just so much better. The benefits of adding the compression lock to this are great. Spyderco always gives you these options for multiple points of carry. Their pocket clips, while they're not the most attractive, since they were one of the first, I think they were the first company to actually put a pocket clip on a knife, they've got it dialed in. They not only are functional pocket clips, but where you put them in your hand, if you carry this tip, if you happen to be somebody that is, I don't know why, but you would want to, but tip down, this becomes like your fingers just drop into this. When you've got it in this grip, like your fingers get into it and you're in it, it doesn't feel hot at all. The blade is just brilliant. This is probably the best grind I've ever gotten on a Spyderco done in Golden, Colorado. The edges are even, consistent. Beautiful distal taper on this brings this down to a crazy piercing tip. Stupid sharp on this crew wear. Their steels, I gotta say, their heat treat on their steels has come so far. They've probably got some of the best production heat treat out there. This crew wear has held up amazing. And then you've got these beautiful micarta scales that, while they're not rounded at the edges per se, they're not hard, they're not sharp. You've just got, I think this is almost a perfect knife. For a lot of people, it's going to be a little bit too big, but for me, it's just incredible. It is broken in. It is super smooth. Absolutely the best Spyderco purchase I've ever made. The Military 2. You need to check one of these out. And like, I don't think I mentioned it, but I'll put links to these down below. So let's move on to the next knife. And it's the VOS Mini Nightshade. Now, I love this knife, and I absolutely do love the original Nightshade, but I think that the Mini Nightshade is just a better knife. This finds its way into my pocket more times than I can tell you. This thing is done incredibly. You've got this beautiful I love this gray G10. The axis lock on this, the the crossbar lock on this, axis style lock, is probably the smoothest I've ever had on any knife. Even though this is a smaller knife in hand, incredibly comfortable and functional. Even for a smaller knife, this drops down into this angle of cut that just sits so well. You don't give anything up even with a smaller blade. It's done in 14C28N, which is, it's gotten back to where I think it's probably my favorite steel other than like S90V or 20CV. It is an incredible steel. The blade on it is super thin blade stock. Everything's been crowned and smoothed. And so there's no sharp edges on this, no ugly jimping that's not functional. There's a little bit of jimping here. The fact that this thing sits in a watch pocket so well, but still gives you like superior levels of cutting is just great. If you need a small knife that you can carry all the time, this thing's great. You got ambidextrous thumb studs. I'm sorry, ambidextrous, well, you do, ambidextrous thumb studs and a reversible ambidextrous pocket clip, because this is a truly ambidextrous lock. Just the comfort level you have in the cut, even with a smaller knife, is great. I think that this is the perfect version of this knife, in my opinion. Look, it's even surprised I said it. And if on a smaller knife you want a lanyard, I'm not even upset about the lanyard hole on this one, because everything else on this is so good. I just can't recommend this knife highly enough. VOS just killed it with this one. And I think this is my favorite knife that they've made. So let's move on to the final knife. And it's the Beyond EDC Gar designed by Dirk Pinkerton. This thing's incredible, and it's a little sad because these are going to be hard to get because I'm not sure exactly what's going on with Beyond EDC knives. But right now, these might still be available. If not, I may have a line on some that are still around. This thing is incredible. It's in VG10 steel, some beautifully done burlap micarta, nice deep carry pocket clip. It is a liner lock, but it is a devastatingly sharp and aggressive Talon style blade. It's got this beautiful fuller. It runs the full length. I love Dirk's knives. I think you guys are going to come to notice that. The way it drops in hand, perfect, ever so comfortable. This thing has got a fuller that runs the full length that is your deployment method. It is very, very good. It has some of the best and most functional jimping on a knife you're going to find there's jimping here, and then there's jimping down here if you've got it in a reverse grip, so you've got a spot for your hand here. Absolutely beautifully done liners on this that give you really, really good access. Nice deep carry pocket clip. In hand, this thing just feels like it wants to cut. It drops in and pinches in just in the right spots. It's got jimping where it needs it. Everything about this is really, really good. And then along the lines of a lot of Dirk's other knives, instead of it being fully chamfered, it's just got these little facets that are cut into the knife in a couple places, but it still gives you that full chamfered feel that just really rounds it out and fills your hand. It's nice and thick. You've got a micarta backspacer as well, which is a feature I love. I find it attractive. And then you've got these polished pops of liner that come all the way through. This is just a brilliantly done knife. The action on this is so smooth for a budget knife. And if you can find one of these, absolutely recommend picking one up. So there you go, guys. That was 5 badass blades in about 10 minutes. So let's turn this around. We'll do some final thoughts and I'll send you out about your day. There you go, guys. Absolutely love all these knives. These are some of my most carried knives, to tell you the truth. This knife of the year, that new Spyderco Military 2. Absolutely incredible knives. So I just thought it would be fun to throw those together. I like to do these compilation videos every once in a while. So you guys know what to do. If you like the videos, thumbs up, thumbs down, share it, and make sure that you hit the subscribe button and set the notifications to all. Check out the links down below. I've got most of the major vendors down there. Some of the links actually have discounts built into them, like Coffee Brand Coffee and Tempered Trail. I also have got an Amazon store that you can take and pin that to your browser, use it for all your shopping. For further discounts, I have a coupon code of crazysharp, all one word, all lowercase. It works at Fair & Forge Knife Works, Rosecraft Blades, KATSU Knives, and any of the stock that's left at Beyond EDC Knives until we figure out the direction that that company's going. Those will save you 10%, but at Beyond EDC Knives, it's 40%. I also have a membership that you can check out if you want to get into that, and you can join my public Discord down below. Guys, that's it on this one. I love you all. Keep it clean in the comments section. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. I'll see you in the next video.